Barry Bonds sitting down for an interview with MLB.com. He was recently asked if he deserves a place in the Hall of Fame, and he says, "Oh, without a doubt, there's no doubt in my mind." Is Bonds right?
There's no doubt in my mind that he deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Rob, we've talked for years about this, and I'm going to restate my case because Barry has brought it back up. Barry Bonds was a no-doubt Hall of Famer before he got big, before he joined the steroid party, if in fact he did. I mean, still, it never tested positive, so we all assume that he did just because of the growth spurt, the facial structure. All the indications were there. But reportedly, Barry was moved to join the party by what happened in 1998, the great home run race that quote-unquote saved baseball between McGwire and Sosa. And Barry said, hey, I can't compete with those two guys because look how big they have gotten. Paul Bunyan and what used to be Sammy Sosa, the little Sammy.
And Paul Bunyan is the perfect, I mean, he was the biggest guy I ever saw.
Okay, biggest guy I ever saw. And then Barry got to be the second biggest guy I ever saw. But before that, if we just look at Barry's body of work, 13 seasons before 1998, he had already won 3 MVPs. He had 8 Gold Gloves. He'd been on 8 All-Star teams. He had already led the league in home runs and RBI in the same year. He'd had a 40-40 season, all the steals and home runs, all before 1998. Tell me that that body of work is not Hall of Fame just on its own merits before he joined the party.
And, Skip, you're right. And this is where I separate with my brethren, because, you know, I'm a Hall of Fame baseball voter. And I hold this honor. I take it very seriously. I don't just vote for people and all this. And I voted for McGwire the whole time since he's been on the ballot. And I know I'm in the minority. But the same thing, Barry Bonds deserves to be a first ballot. This whole idea that you're going to punish him and hold him out. The Baseball Hall of Fame and the writers are in a position right now where they are going to, Skip, make the Baseball Hall of Fame irrelevant and meaningless if they continue this path of destruction, which is to ignore what went on during that time and just penalize the handful of guys who set records. It's not fair. And everybody keeps, it's not. Because just like you said, have we ever taken a test of how many guys? Barry Bonds was probably the norm, not the exception, which they try to make him out to be, because as many pitchers have been caught with it as well. So you were facing pitchers who were on the juice, right? So
this is all so murky. I don't know how you differentiate. He's okay, but he's not.
Right.
That's okay. So they won the World Series with ex-juicers on their team, but that's okay. But
and that's my other point. Here we go. If the Hall of Fame and these guys want to be realistic, say those Yankee World Series don't count, take away those 2 that the Red Sox won. They had Big Papi, they had Manny, right? Take those away, and now maybe I'll get on board and we could strip the whole era. Otherwise, do what we've always done, which is to say, call it what it is, the steroid era. What do we have? The integration, right? The segregation era, right? We don't strip Babe Ruth of his numbers and say, well, he didn't play against any blacks or Latins, so we shouldn't count his numbers. You know what we do? We accept his numbers for what they were, and we just call it an era and move on. And that's what we should do here.
Yeah, eye test. Barry Bonds, Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
Oh, please.
Name the guy.
It's ridiculous. It's an absurd question.
And name the guy who's going to get in who used steroids, who wasn't a star player. You're telling me Roger Clemens isn't a Hall of Famer?
Please.
It's a joke. It's a total joke. And these guys who walk around and, well, we got to upstand the Hall of Fame, and we got to make sure that these guys don't get in. Those writers who are doing this are going to kill the Baseball Hall of Fame, because you have an all-star team of players coming up, and none of those guys are going to get in the Hall of Fame.
Real quick, what is your gut?
A-Rod is another one.
Yeah.
What does your gut tell you about how it's going to end up? Does Barry get it?
Eventually, yes. And you know what? You know, I heard a point on Outside the Lines where they said the older writers who hold this thing, once they kind of move on, and some of the younger guys might, by the time the 15 years go, maybe. But it was just like almost the Roberto Alomar thing, where they punished him 1 year. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer because he had the spitting incident.
Spitting on an umpire. Okay, now we're down to the brass tacks of Barry Bonds. Most of these writers we're speaking of, they're all our brethren, and we've also experienced this ourselves. Barry was as big a jerk as has ever come down the baseball pike. And he talked about it in his quotes to MLB.com. Maybe I should have done that better. I got tired of talking about these issues 162 days or nights a year, plus spring training. And he was, to me, he could be verbally abusive, he could cold shoulder. He bought no insurance from any of the media people with access, with just courtesy, just human courtesy. There was none of that. He abused so many writers in this privilege.
And this is their payback.
This is the way they're going to get even. That's mainly what this is, because Barry gets no sympathy vote at all from anyone who attempted to cover Barry Bonds. But I've always said, when Barry decided to do a sit-down news conference, eloquent, brilliant, captivating speaker. And he wasted all that because he was too cool for it. He was above all of us.
And we talked about all the time, you talk about the eye test. That guy would get 2 pitches a night, 2 or 3 pitches a night to get a hit. And it was unbelievable. Everybody always talks about this steroid thing. He only got 2 or 3 pitches to hit, and he would get 2 hits, and they would walk him 2 or 3 times a game. It was unbelievable. That year when he walked 200.
I was there.
Yeah, you saw it every night.
Down the stretch, I went to every game.
Phenomenal.
And it was the greatest things I've ever watched as a sequence. I've never seen anything like it, and I miss it dearly.